In an astonishing revelation, Megan Wood explores how the ancient Venus cycle predicts not chaos, but an unexpected gateway to global peace. Far from superstition, the orbit of Venus forms an exquisite pattern in the sky, a rose of cosmic proportions, marking moments when humanity is offered profound course corrections. Megan explains that we are entering one such turning point now, where heart-based energy, not force, will determine the next era. The signs are subtle but undeniable. If you feel a strange tension between collapse and hope, you are sensing it too. The Venus cycle is quietly guiding humanity toward a breathtaking shift. Venus doesn't just rule love, she orchestrates evolution. Megan teaches that Venus is not merely the planet of romantic affection, it is the celestial architect of collective emotional intelligence. Where Venus moves, human values and cultural tides inevitably follow. Her influence reaches deeper than personal relationships, seeding the frameworks through which we build societies. Throughout history, major Venus alignments coincided with art renaissances, peace treaties, and the birth of philosophical revolutions. Megan points out that Venus stirs not the mind first, but the heart center, calling humanity to feel before it thinks, to connect before it conquers. Understanding Venus this way reframes what power looks like. It is not command over others. It is resonance among equals. Megan believes that Venus's hand in our evolution has been vastly underestimated, and that now the planet's secret work is reaching a pivotal crescendo. As we awaken collectively, the true Venusian codes, beauty, empathy, coherence, become the forces reshaping not just individuals, but entire nations. Megan says recognizing this hidden orchestration helps us prepare to move not by strategy alone, but by sacred rhythm. The current Venus cycle carries a hidden peace code. Every 8 years, Venus traces a 5-pointed rose in the sky, a cosmic signature known to ancient astronomers. Megan reveals that the particular cycle culminating between 2025 to 2026 carries embedded frequencies of reconciliation. It's not about prophecy, it's about vibrational opportunity. This cycle's pattern aligns with critical global energetic thresholds unseen in the past several centuries. Megan explains that embedded within this cosmic geometry is a peace code, a vibrational opening that makes collaboration, empathy, and collective healing more accessible than before. This doesn't mean peace arrives automatically. Venus merely opens the doorway. Humanity must choose to walk through it. Megan shares that the more we attune ourselves personally to heart frequencies now, the wider this gateway swings for all. She emphasizes that preparation isn't external, it's vibrational. To activate the peace code, individuals must stabilize within themselves the very qualities they hope to see in the world. The Venus cycle lays the energetic path, but it is embodied resonance that will determine whether the opportunity is seized. The 8-year Venus rose and its ancient prophecies. Megan explains that ancient civilizations knew of Venus's intricate cycle, seeing it not just as astronomical beauty, but as a prophetic map. The 5-pointed star Venus traces in the sky every 8 years was revered as a symbol of spiritual integration and Earth's potential for sacred governance. Civilizations like the Maya, Egyptians, and Sumerians mapped their calendars around Venus's dance. Megan reveals that for these ancient cultures, the completion of a Venus rose wasn't just aesthetic. It marked a new opportunity for humanity to correct its course and embody higher harmonics. The Venus rose is more than a pattern, it's a resonance signature. Megan teaches that just as a plant responds to sunlight, human consciousness responds to the energetic notes sounded by planetary harmonics. We are currently standing at the completion of one such cycle. These ancient prophecies didn't predict events, they predicted fields of opportunity. Megan urges us to recognize that this upcoming Venus completion signals an unparalleled moment to choose, fall further into division, or rise into a deeper union than humanity has yet known. Humanity is entering the third petal of reconciliation. The Venus rose is often divided into 5 symbolic petals, each representing a phase of human evolution. Megan shares that we are now entering the third petal of reconciliation, a phase centered on mending long-standing global rifts, both visible and unseen. This petal emphasizes not just treaties and politics, but the healing of energetic trauma fields passed through generations. Megan explains that this phase requires the release of collective resentment, ancestral grief, and buried distrust that have calcified across centuries. Reconciling doesn't mean forgetting wrongs, it means metabolizing the pain into wisdom. Megan stresses that this work begins within individuals before it echoes out into nations. Your personal reconciliations prepare the energetic soil for global healing. She calls this time emotional bridge building at planetary scale. No external authority can enforce reconciliation. It must be chosen, soul by soul, heart by heart. Venus opens the portal, but it is human hands that must extend the bridge across the old chasms. Collective heart activation is the real revolution. Megan explains that the revolution Venus is seeding will not be fought with weapons or waged with rhetoric. It will be ignited through collective heart field activation. When a critical mass of hearts synchronize at high emotional coherence, reality itself begins to restructure. Scientific studies on heart-brain coherence support this mystically ancient truth. The electromagnetic field of a single coherent heart extends miles beyond the body. When multiplied across millions, it forms an energetic lattice that can soften collective tension and dissolve old conflict patterns. This revolution isn't loud. Megan describes it as a soft uprising of gentleness, a subtle, powerful flowering that cannot be legislated against because it occurs beneath the structures of force. It's not a movement, it's a magnetic reorganization of human relations. She invites viewers to participate not through activism alone, but through daily practices of heart alignment, forgiveness, gratitude, compassion, presence. These are not passive acts. Megan assures us they are world-shaping technologies waiting to be wielded at the personal and planetary level. Venus returns to her starting point in 2025. Megan reveals that every 8 years, Venus returns almost exactly to the same spot in the sky, completing her celestial rose. In 2025, this return will align with significant collective energies, marking not just an astronomical event, but an energetic reset on a global scale. This return acts as a vibrational tuning fork. Megan explains that Venus's position will ping the Earth's emotional field, recalibrating collective frequencies toward higher harmonics if we are prepared. It's a moment that invites humanity to move beyond survival-based consciousness into a co-creative heart frequency. However, this reset isn't guaranteed. Megan shares that alignment must be met with awareness. The return of Venus offers the perfect harmonic conditions for peace building, but if humanity remains steeped in fear and separation, the opportunity could narrow instead of expand. She encourages us to think of 2025 not as a deadline, but as a symphonic cue. When Venus returns, those who are vibrationally ready will naturally harmonize into new pathways of leadership, healing, and creative construction, birthing new systems that honor life itself. Peace will not come by force, but by frequency. One of the most radical truths Megan reveals from Venusian teachings is that peace cannot be negotiated through force. It must emerge through frequency. True peace isn't the absence of conflict, it's the presence of coherent resonance strong enough to dissolve conflict naturally. When collective emotional fields stabilize into heart-centered coherence, Megan explains, the magnetic tension that fuels division weakens. Policies, treaties, and discussions flow easier not because of coercion, but because the energetic atmosphere changes what feels possible. Attempting to force peace while maintaining energetic incoherence only deepens resistance. Megan shares that the Pleiadians and ancient cultures both taught, you must become the vibration of the world you wish to build. Peace doesn't arrive through argument, it blooms through alignment. This Venus cycle reminds us, if we want external peace, we must cultivate internal coherence first. The field of the many is always shaped by the frequency of the few. Megan urges each listener to see themselves not as powerless, but as a tuning fork for global realignment. The feminine principle will guide the next leadership wave. According to Megan, Venus's upcoming influence signals a massive shift in the type of leadership that rises across the globe. The next era will not be dominated by raw force, charisma, or strategic cunning. It will be shaped by feminine principles flowing through both women and men. These principles include intuitive listening, collective nurturing, rhythmic decision-making, and sacred honoring of diversity. Megan explains that true feminine leadership isn't about gender. It's about resonance with life, relational intelligence, and stewardship over domination. In previous ages, masculine structures built empires. In this one, feminine energetics will weave civilizations. Megan shares that this shift may feel chaotic at first, as outdated systems struggle to maintain control. But the tide will prove irreversible as heart-centered leadership seeds grow. This isn't about overthrowing anything. It's about allowing a deeper intelligence to emerge. Megan invites viewers to notice the subtle rise of new leaders already embodying these qualities, and to nurture them with support, trust, and shared vision, rather than skepticism. Venus teaches that true power is magnetic, not aggressive. One of the most profound Venusian lessons, Megan reveals, is that real power is magnetic, not forceful. It draws rather than demands. It attracts rather than coerces. In this cycle, the understanding of power itself will evolve at a collective level. Aggressive power, rooted in domination, leads inevitably to collapse because it is inherently unstable. Megan explains that magnetic power, rooted in authenticity, clarity, and coherent energy, creates gravitational fields that shape reality without ever needing to impose. Venus embodies this naturally. Her orbit harmonizes the planetary field without battling anything. Megan teaches that humanity is now being invited to embody this higher model of influence, to become fields so aligned, so radiant, that others rise simply by entering our presence. This shift doesn't eliminate boundaries, it strengthens them in a new way. Magnetic power isn't passive, it's unshakably centered. Megan encourages us to study nature, stars, and the heart itself, all masters of magnetic coherence, for clues on how true global peace is seeded from within. Economic systems will mirror emotional evolution. Megan shares that as Venus's influence deepens, even our economic systems will begin to shift, not through sudden revolution, but through gradual resonance realignment. Financial flows will start to mirror emotional currents more than old structures of fear, scarcity, or control. Businesses built on extraction and domination will find it harder to thrive. Megan predicts that enterprises rooted in trust, value creation, cooperation, and true service will monetize resources effortlessly. Money itself will slowly detach from pure materialism and begin circulating where heart coherence is strongest. The Venus cycle invites a completely different economic consciousness, one where success is measured not only by profit margins, but by the energetic impact on life itself. Systems that honor life will prosper naturally. Systems that resist this flow will stagnate or dissolve. Megan reminds us, Financial shifts won't start with governments. They start with individual choices. Every purchase, every investment, every energetic exchange is a vote for the world you believe in. Economics will not lead evolution this time. Emotional integrity will. Spiritual disarmament must precede physical disarmament. Megan teaches that true global peace cannot be legislated until it first happens within the individual spirit. Physical disarmament, wars ending, weapons being laid down, only becomes sustainable when internal warfare ceases. The Pleiadians stress. Outer conflict mirrors inner division. Spiritual disarmament means surrendering the need to be right at all costs, the compulsion to defend old identities, and the reflex to see others as threats. Megan shares that when enough individuals heal these internal fractures, the collective field softens naturally, making true disarmament possible without coercion. It's not about weakness. Megan explains that inner peace creates a strength unshakable by outer events. When you disarm within, you become immune to manipulation through fear. You begin radiating a field that de-escalates conflict simply by existing in coherent presence. The Venus cycle offers an invitation to disarm our hearts, to lay down ancient armors, to trust vulnerability as a sacred technology. Megan reminds us, global treaties will falter if hearts remain weaponized. But hearts aligned with truth make conflict obsolete from the inside out. The great softening, global polarities begin to melt. Megan reveals that as the Venus frequencies deepen hardened polarities, right versus left, science versus spirit, power versus people, will begin to soften in ways both subtle and startling. The era of rigid camps is dissolving because the energetic atmosphere itself is shifting. Polarization thrives in environments of scarcity, fear, and reactivity. But as the collective heart field grows stronger, the emotional fuel sustaining division weakens. Megan shares that people will find themselves questioning old loyalties, feeling less certain of black and white narratives, and opening to unexpected bridges. The softening won't happen through arguments or force. It will happen through the erosion of energetic rigidity. Megan explains it as ice melting naturally under a warming sun, slowly, unstoppably, without violence. The willingness to listen, to empathize, to collaborate will rise without needing campaigns. This phase will be uncomfortable for those attached to old certainties. Megan advises meeting the discomfort with compassion for yourself and others. Softening is not weakness. It's the necessary dissolving of armor so that a new, truly integrated civilization can be born. Venus's influence on water, dreams, and cellular memory. Megan teaches that Venus's vibrations don't just affect emotions, they ripple through the very elements of our physical reality, especially water. The human body, being mostly water, becomes a living receptor for these subtle changes during the Venusian shift. Water is a memory keeper. Megan explains that as the Venus frequencies intensify, many will experience spontaneous emotional releases, vivid dreams, and even physical detoxifications. These are not random. They are cellular responses to ancient healing codes activated by the resonance of Venus. Dreams during this time will become particularly potent. Megan shares that dream space will operate less as psychological theater and more as interdimensional classroom, where old traumas surface to be cleansed and new blueprints are installed through symbolic communication. She encourages sacred engagement with water during this time, through blessings, conscious hydration, ritual baths, and time near natural bodies of water. Venus speaks most clearly through fluidity. And by honoring water within and around us, we synchronize more deeply with the planetary healing underway. Sacred relationships will become global templates. Megan explains that during this Venus cycle, relationships between individuals, especially those based on authenticity, resonance, and mutual growth, will serve as templates for collective systems. Sacred partnerships won't just heal individuals, they will demonstrate new possibilities for society itself. As two people learn to navigate conflict without domination, to hold space for evolution without control, and to mirror each other's highest truths, they seed energetic blueprints into the collective field. Megan teaches that these relational microcosms become the prototypes for future diplomacy, education, and governance. This means every conscious friendship, partnership, or community is more important than we realize. Megan urges us to treat our closest bonds not just as personal sanctuaries, but as sacred experiments in new earth building. What you heal between two becomes available for the many. Sacred relationships are the laboratories of the new earth. Megan reminds us, the future of humanity won't be decided in conference rooms alone. It will be decided in kitchens, living rooms, and quiet conversations where the seeds of a new relational paradigm are planted. Megan also shares that sacred relationships during this Venus cycle won't just model harmony, they will become living transmitters of a new emotional architecture for humanity. Every conscious choice between two souls, to listen instead of attack, to nurture instead of control, to uplift instead of compete, creates energetic templates that ripple far beyond personal happiness. The rise of frequency diplomats on the world stage. One of the most exciting predictions Megan shares is the rise of a new kind of leader, the frequency diplomat. These are individuals whose primary tool isn't rhetoric, aggression, or manipulation, it's energetic coherence. They lead not through strategy alone, but through resonance mastery. A frequency diplomat knows how to stabilize emotional fields during conflict, hold multiple perspectives without collapsing into duality, and harmonize polarized energies into creative solutions. Megan explains that these individuals are already incarnating, and their influence will grow dramatically during the next Venus cycle. Unlike traditional diplomats, frequency diplomats won't always hold official titles. Some will be artists, healers, educators, entrepreneurs. Megan teaches that wherever they operate, they shift the field around them, opening space for unimagined collaborations and peaceful resolutions. She encourages viewers to cultivate these skills within themselves now: emotional regulation, vibrational self-awareness, intuitive listening. Because in the age of Venus, true influence will belong to those who can move energy, not just arguments. The future will follow resonance, not noise. Megan explains that frequency diplomats will operate differently than traditional power brokers. They will not seek control through debate, but create coherence through presence. These individuals will hold such refined energetic fields that conflict naturally de-escalates around them without the need for confrontation. Their strength will come from how deeply they embody stillness, clarity, and inclusiveness. Megan believes these frequency diplomats will become the unseen architects of peace, influencing negotiations, cultural shifts, and even social movements, not by force of will, but by sheer vibrational integrity. Venus's hidden role in ancient predictions of golden ages. Megan shares a fascinating truth. Many ancient prophecies about golden ages, the return of peace, abundance, and spiritual enlightenment, were deeply linked to Venus cycles. Across cultures, from the Maya to the Vedic traditions, Venus was seen as a harbinger of cosmic renewal. These civilizations understood that Venus's rhythms synchronized with Earth's emotional body. When Venus completed her rose, especially during critical celestial alignments, humanity was offered a chance to enter a higher octave of civilization. Megan reveals that our current era matches many of these ancient markers. This doesn't mean utopia arrives automatically. The ancients taught that the opportunity for golden ages was cyclical, but it had to be chosen consciously. Megan stresses that it's not fate, but vibrational readiness that determines whether a golden era blossoms or withers. She encourages us to treat this time with reverence. We are standing inside the very alignments that mystics and seers foresaw thousands of years ago. Megan reminds us, the return of Venus's harmony is not a myth. It's a map. And now we must walk it with awakened hearts. Ancient records, Megan shares, often depicted Venus as the bringer of morning, not just symbolically but energetically. They understood that when Venus crossed certain cosmic thresholds, humanity received invitations to step into epochs of enlightenment. These weren't simply astrological curiosities. They were sacred timings inscribed into the memory of the cosmos itself. Megan reminds us that we are living within one of these Venusian windows right now, and whether we create another golden age depends entirely on whether we respond to the heart's call rather than the mind's fear. Signs you are already tuning into the Venusian shift. Megan explains that many sensitive souls are already attuning to the incoming Venusian frequencies, whether consciously or not. The signs are subtle but profound, and recognizing them can strengthen your alignment with the unfolding new earth. One sign is emotional sensitivity increasing, not as weakness, but as a recalibration of your energetic field to pick up more refined frequencies. Megan shares that another sign is a deep reevaluation of personal values, where old ambitions feel hollow and heart-centered purpose takes precedence. You may also notice magnetic living becoming more natural. Rather than chasing goals aggressively, opportunities and connections seem to arrive effortlessly through resonance. Megan teaches that this is Venus's influence pulling you into alignment with organic creation rather than forceful striving. Above all, there is often a quiet sense of inevitability, that despite external chaos, something beautiful, tender, and powerful is awakening inside humanity. Megan encourages trusting these inner shifts. They are the first whispers of a planetary song rising from the collective heart. Megan also shares that another powerful sign of tuning into the Venusian shift is the magnetization of soul-aligned relationships and opportunities. You might find yourself effortlessly meeting people who feel instantly familiar, discovering creative projects that flow with almost mystical ease, or finding old obstacles dissolving without struggle. These synchronicities are not coincidences. They are confirmation that your field is harmonizing with the Venusian timeline. Megan urges you to trust these openings and lean deeper into the energies that feel nourishing, expansive, and true. Peace is not a destination. It's a field we must become. In the most profound teaching of all, Megan reveals that Venus reminds us, peace is not a place we arrive at. It's a frequency we embody. It's a vibrational field we consciously become through daily inner choices, rippling outward to reshape the external world. Waiting for governments, treaties, or leaders to establish peace will always delay it. Megan teaches that peace is seated in the unseen, through forgiveness extended quietly, compassion chosen when judgment beckons, presence held when fear erupts. These small acts are the architects of collective destiny. Becoming peace means stabilizing your own emotional and energetic fields so deeply that you carry coherence wherever you go. Megan explains that in the age of Venus, it's not the loudest, but the most vibrationally aligned souls who become the pillars of the new world. She reminds us, you are not separate from the field. You are the field. Every breath, every thought, every act of kindness or courage is a thread weaving the tapestry of the future. Peace isn't waiting for you to find it. Peace is waiting for you to become it. Megan emphasizes that becoming a field of peace means transcending the old patterns of reaction, judgment, and competition that have ruled human interactions for millennia. It is choosing stillness when provoked, compassion when wronged, and courage when afraid. Each small internal victory over the inherited programming of division rewires not just your personal field, but the human collective field. Megan reminds us that real planetary transformation doesn't come through mass movements first. It comes from millions of individuals choosing, breath by breath, to become the still center of a new Earth.